Then we're going to talk about this piece of kit. It is the 12 South StayGo USB C hub, and we're going to figure out if this is the hub that you should be buying for your iPad or not. Coming from the Kingston USB-C hub, there was really two things that I wanted when I looked at the 12 South StayGo. One was actually this cool little cable. You can see it here. It pops in, pops out, and you got this little short cable that plugs in, and that would plug into your device on the other end. There's actually the second cable this comes with. The first one is a 1 meter long with a 90-degree USB-C on one end. And I like the 90-degree, but I don't love that it's only 1 meter long. In my previous iPad desk setup to have an ergonomic, clean iPad desk, I talked about my cabling, and really you need a longer than 1 meter cable to have an ergonomic, kind of clean desk setup. So while I like it, I have found that I needed to add my Ugreen USB-C male to female cable just to extend it a little bit more and reach into my monitor stand properly so that I can mount my iPad on its VESA mount. The other big thing that drew me to this hub instead of going with the Kingston was that it had Ethernet support. Now, I've just done a Wi-Fi upgrade at my house. We've switched over to Eero, and that's been going excellent for everybody except for me. And what I ended up having is I've lost a little bit of speed on my iPad Pro, so it's not terrible. I can do everything I want to do except upload YouTube videos really well. And what I wanted was a hardwired connection, because I knew this was coming when I bought it. I bought this, about 2 months ago to try. And I knew that I wanted to have a hardwired connection because I figured it would increase stability, that I'd be able to just have a better, more stable connection that would allow me to upload things faster to YouTube, faster to anything else, and that it would just be a better experience. And that's proven true. Even before I switched over to my Wi-Fi setup with the Eero, I was getting better speeds, more consistent uploads, faster uploads by having a wired connection through the StayGo hub with my iPad Pro. Now let's talk about the ports this has. This has one port right on the end that's going to go to your USB-C based device. On the back, it's got one USB-C port that will take up to 100 watts, and it will pass through about 85 of those to your device. I have a 90 watt brick. Let me grab the box actually. This brick from NecTech. Yeah, NecTech. Got this brick from NecTech that's passing 90 watts through to my hub so that I can charge my iPad well and really power everything else with the hub. Next thing this has is my gigabit Ethernet port. Excellent. And then it's followed by two USB 3 ports, and then one USB 3, those are all A style ports, but it has one USB 3.0 A style that has like extra power in it, so it'll produce 7.5 watts of power for everything else. And finally, it's got an HDMI cable, and I use that HDMI cable to plug into my monitor. But this is also where you start having some troubles. Now, it's not necessarily the hub's fault though. The HDMI connection here is going to support 4K at 30 Hz. Some people say this is terrible, but I don't actually notice the difference between 60 and 30. It looks fine to me. What I do notice is that it's not going to support 4K over HDMI out of my iPad. Now, the 4K monitor I have is the LG has terrible names, is the LG 27UL500. On the back of that, it's got two HDMI in and one DisplayPort in. I know my iPad will do 4K, but ultimately what I'm going to need for that is a different dock. I'm going to need a CalDigit dock or something like that. Now, to round out the ports, it's got two SD card slots. It's got microSD and regular SD card. In daily use, the StayGo hub is better actually than my Kingston hub, mainly because it has the Ethernet port. I like that. Like I said, I have been finding my YouTube uploads, my video uploads, all of my internet connectivity with my iPad has simply been more stable. But that doesn't mean there's not problems with it. And this is not just the 12 South StayGo hub, this has been my Kingston hub as well. My external hard drives don't always show up with the hub. All right, so I actually lied. I didn't lie, but I figured out what the issue was with the hub. It has nothing to do with the hub specifically. You can see on the screen right now, I've got, I don't know how my mouse hooked up. Let's hook up the mouse. Okay, see I've got the videos, which is an external hard drive hooked up. I've got Krillin, which is that SanDisk USB AC thumb drive, and I've got just a blank media card plugged in. Totally fine. And what I found was the cable that this comes with, that 1 meter cable, works fine. What I had problems with was this Ugreen, in theory, USB-C Thunderbolt cable, having a trouble. So what I have instead is I don't have the name of it, but I will put a something somewhere here, up top or below something, that says I have a 2 meter Thunderbolt 3 cable. And that works fine. So what we're gonna try right now is, because I did read this in a couple spots, that it matters which way you plug in this Ugreen cable, that if you flip it one way, it has problems. And if you flip it over, it's fine. So we'll plug it in and let's see what else comes up. So I'm hooked it into my extension of that 2 meter cable. I don't actually need it anymore because I do have a 2 meter long Thunderbolt 3 cable. I can see power coming over, but I don't see anything else coming over on this at all. Yeah, and so the dumb thing about this is that it should be, doesn't matter because it's USB-C, right? So we'll flip it over at the junction for my iPad so that the Ugreen symbol is showing to me, and see if anything comes up. Realistically, my hard drive called videos will take a while because it's like an old 5400 RPM drop drive. But the other two, the SD card and the thumb drive, should come up pretty quick, possibly. And again, I'm not seeing anything, so I'm gonna assume it's not working. Let's unplug it at the junction between the Thunderbolt cable and the extender at the female end for the Ugreen cable and see if anything comes up again. Oh, look, Krillin came up, EOS Digital came up. So I assume it works and that it works just fine, but my stupid Ugreen cable is flipped over and that shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to assume I can see the red light flashing on my 5400 RPM drive. And look, it came up too. So there's actually no problem with the hub. The hub should work just fine. It's this stupid extension cable. And I've consistently found that. This is like a good long, this is a bunch of cables I've had. So I have another one. Let's do that again. Just got it today and hoping that it would solve this problem, but I didn't think about flipping it over. So let's try that. Again, link in the description for this cable. It looks like it's from Disdim. Okay, this is a male to female cable, so we're gonna do basically the same thing. I'm gonna plug it in and see what happens. It's braided cable, it came with a Velcro thing, and that's great. It's again a 2 meter USB-C male-female cable. Throw those back on my couch. And we'll see what comes up. I've got my monitor coming up now. You can't see that. Monitor's right here, and my iPad's right in front of me here. So I don't see anything. Let's start by flipping over the female end of the cable that plugs into my Thunderbolt cable and see if that fixes it. Thunderbolt 3 is just a mess. I'm gonna do a whole video on that. Oh, and it does. Well, maybe. Yep. Yeah. So it looks like the female works if I flip it over. So the real problem here is Thunderbolt 3 and the cables that come with it, it looks like. Yep, there's my other drive. That's the problem. The hub works fine. So this is still plugged into my standard, the StayGo hub. This is the video you're watching, the StayGo hub. Plugged it in there, it's totally fine. I have no issues with it. And it was a stupid cable. The hub works great. We'll have a whole video at some point on USB 3 point, whatever, Thunderbolt cables. Suffice to say, if you have a male-female cable, flip the cable over and see if it's wired out properly, because it might not be. Or just buy really expensive Thunderbolt cables. Back to the rest of the review. Next up, one of the issues I've had with really every USB-C hub is that most of them, and not just this, but most of them only have that short style of cable that this has as its travel cable. Like I said, this has a 90-degree, 1 meter long cable. That's good, but it's not quite long enough to really set up a good ergonomic desk setup. So, I needed to get that longer cable. I would love to see a 2 meter, 1.5 meter cable with this hub so that you can set up an ergonomic desk setup with your monitor, with anything. I think that even in my previous iteration of my desk, when I had a Mac Mini, or when I have a Mac Mini, or when I had a laptop that would have taken USB-C or Thunderbolt at the time, I still would not have had a long enough cable to really use this hub on my desk where it's easily accessible. I would have had to stash it off on a shelf, out of the way, where you're kind of defeating the purpose of the hub then if you gotta like fight to find it all the time. It should be accessible, easily accessible for you. Now, the other way this is less than optimal, at least for iPad users, is that that short cable means that the hub is gonna dangle off your iPad when you use it when you're mobile. That sucks. Again, I'd love to see about double the length of this. You won't hit this if you are on a MacBook Pro. Because your MacBook Pro is sitting flat, your ports are like a millimeter off the ground, and the hub's just gonna sit flat. It'll be fine. Now, that's not to say I haven't enjoyed the Ethernet port on this, because I actually have taken it traveling. I took it down to my wife's work, because she said, our internet's terrible. And I said, well, let's just see if it's the internet, if it's the router, or whatever. And her internet's terrible. I don't remember the last time I saw 1 megabyte each way, but that's what I saw at her work. And having this portable hub meant I just took my iPad, took an Ethernet cable, plugged it all in, checked it, and said, wow, your Wi-Fi is really that bad. Your internet's just terrible, my dear. So that was excellent, and I love that. I would not have been able to test that with the Kingston hub because it doesn't have an Ethernet jack. Another issue that I kind of could go either way on is that all the ports face one way. So all your ports, including your power port, are kind of facing off the back. You have your power port, your Ethernet, your 3 USB-As, and then your HDMI, and they all face off the back. That is good as far as cable management goes, but if you want to be able to easily access anything on it, you got to reach around behind. It's kind of a pain in the butt in that way because you've got to reach around behind. You've got to hope that it works. And the tolerances are a little tight. I have one of the SanDisk USB-C and USB-A thumb drives for moving files around with my iPad and my computer. The tolerances on the back mean that if I had all the cables plugged in to this hub, I wouldn't actually have a free anything. There'd be not enough space to put this USB key in. I'd just be out of luck. I'd have to remove something and then I could plug in the cable because I'd have enough space. I literally couldn't get 2 of those USB thumb drives side by side. My final issue with this, come on, give me one more USB-C port, people. Like, that's something I liked about the Kingston hub, that had USB-A and USB-C facing forward. It also had a USB-A facing backward. That meant that if I needed to easily access, add something to the hub quickly, I just plugged it in. If I just needed a spare USB-C port, I just plugged something in. It was great. This StayGo hub has no spare USB-C port. So you just have USB-A. That's it. I couldn't plug another USB-C device in here if I had one. So even if you're traveling, you couldn't plug like another USB-C thing in here. You need one more USB-C port on this. Stick it out the side, stick it somewhere, but I need one free USB-C port on my hub so that I can easily access USB-C functionality anytime without needing to unplug everything or just remove it from my iPad and use the USB-C directly in my iPad. Final question is, should you really get this 12 South StayGo USB-C hub? I'm gonna say maybe. You should not get this if you're looking to use a 4K monitor with your iPad because it's just not gonna support it. It's not gonna push 4K over to your monitor because it doesn't have DisplayPort, and really it seems like you need DisplayPort to be able to do that, or USB-C. It's actually possible that if you got the LG Ultrafine 4K monitor directly from Apple at about $900, you could use this. You would plug your iPad into the monitor, you'd plug the monitor into the USB-C hub, and you'd be good to go. But that's like another double the price of the 27-inch monitor I have. And that's a lot of money. Like, I spent $300 on Black Friday on this, and instead I'd spend $900? I don't think so. If you're not worried about 4K, if you're looking for a hub just one hub to kind of rule them all that you can take with you when you go places, that you can leave on your desk, then the StayGo hub is a really good option. You can toss it in your bag, the cable is always included with it. All you have to do is grab the hub, and you come back, and you sit back down at your desk, you plug in all the stuff, and you're good to go. It's really quite easy to take it off my desk, to travel with it, to come back, put it down, and not have to worry about it. I do find when I'm out and about for the day, if I'm plugging it in and only using the USB-C card reader, then I'm totally fine on it. The SD card reader and it works fine when that's all I plugged in, not a problem. Now, if you are using UHS 2 cards though, this isn't going to support it. This only supports UHS 1 cards. So you will have slower read speeds because UHS 1 just doesn't go as fast as UHS 2. It's newer, so it's faster. That's just how these things work, people. if ultimately what you're looking for is an Ethernet jack, you're looking for some USB-A ports and some good power pass through, it's a good hub. Like I said, I liked it. I could pick it up off my desk easily, test out stuff at my wife's house. If you only have a 1080p monitor, this is totally fine. Until 2 weeks ago, I had a 1080p monitor, used it with it, it looked crisp. I noticed that even on my 4K monitor, images look fuzzier. I can tell when it's not a high quality image. Better now. So I'm getting good resolution, good quality out of it. It's just not taking up the full screen. So with your iPad, that means you have a black bar at the top and the bottom. So ultimately, should you get it? I'm still gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep using this for now. This is going to be my go-to hub sitting on my desk. I like it and I'm happy with it, but I'm probably gonna be looking at the CalDigit USB C Pro dock thing. Again, link in the description. And that's the one that I really think is going to do everything I want. Provide 4K support, provide UHS 2 card support, provide an Ethernet jack, provide a USB-A up front, USB-C up front, and multiple USB on the back. So maybe that's a better option. It's also twice the price. So instead of $129 Canadian, which is what I paid for this, I'm gonna be looking at almost $300 Canadian to buy the other one. That's probably gonna do exactly what I want. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you love the video, subscribe, but don't hit that stupid bell notification because honestly, I never want it, so why would I ever tell you to get it? Have a good one.